so I've been watching HBO's Rome and Generation Kill simultaneously, and it's led me to fantasize about traveling back in time with modern troops and equipment to remove that self-righteous little twat. Octavian. Augustus. http en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Augustus. From Power. Let's say we go back in time with a Marine Expeditionary Unit. MEU. Since the numbers of members and equipment is listed for our convenience in this Wikipedia article. http en.wikipedia.org/wiki/marine_expeditionary_unit. Could we destroy all 30 of Augustus' legions? We'd be up against nearly 330,000 men, since each legion was comprised of 11,000 men. These men are typically equipped with limb and torso armor made of metal. And for weaponry they carry swords, spears, bows and other stabbing implements. We'd also encounter siege weapons like catapults and crude incendiary weapons. We'd be made up of about 2,000 members, of which about half would be participating in ground attack operations. We can use our ~4 Abrams M1A1 tanks, our artillery and ~~ mechanized vehicles, 60 Humvees, 16 armored vehicles, etc. But we cannot use our attack air support, only our transport aircraft. We also have medics with us, modern medical equipment and drugs, and engineers. But we no longer have a magical time-traveling supply line. We did have, but the Time Lords frowned upon it. Sadly, that provides us with all the ammunition, equipment and sustenance we need to survive. We'll have to succeed with the stuff we brought with us. So, will we be victorious? I really hope so, because I really dislike Octavian and his horrible family. Getting Asia will be a bonus. Edit Proofrock 451. Big thanks to Proofrock 451 for bringing this scenario to life in a truly captivating and fascinating manner. Proofrock clearly has a great talent, and today it appears that he or she has discovered that they possess the ability to convey their imagination, and the brilliant ideas it contains, to people in a thoroughly entertaining and exciting way. You have a wonderful talent, Proofrock 451, and I hope you are able to use it to entertain people beyond Reddit and the Internet. Thank you for your tremendous contribution to this thread. Mustard Tiger. Wow. Thank you for gifting me Reddit Gold. I feel like a little kid who's won something cool. Like that time my grandma made me a robot costume out of old cereal boxes and I won a $10 prize that I spent on a Thomas the Tank Engine book. That might seem as if I'm being unappreciative, but watching this topic grow today and seeing people derive enjoyment from all the different ideas and scenarios that have been put forward by different posters has really made my day. And receiving Reddit Gold from Mustard Tiger is the cherry on the top that has left me feeling just as giddy as that little kid who won a voucher for a bookshop. Again, thank you very much, Mustard Tiger. I'm sure I will make good use of Reddit Gold. Thank you to all the posters who've recommended books, comics and movies about alternative histories and time travel. I greatly appreciate being made aware of the types of stories and ideas that I really enjoy reading or watching. It's always nice to receive recommendations from people who share your interest in the same things. Edit. In my head the magical resupply system only included sustenance, ammo and replacement equipment like armor. Men and vehicles would not be replaced if they died or were destroyed. I should have made that clear in my op. Okay, let's remove the magical resupply line. instead replacing it with enough equipment and ammo to last for, say, 6 months. Could we destroy all of the Roman Empire in that space of time before our modern technological advantages ceased to function owing to a lack of supplies? Edit 3 Perhaps I've overestimated the capabilities of the Roman forces. If we remove the tanks and artillery, will we still win? We now have troops, their weapons, vehicles for mobility, including transport helicopters, medics and modern medicine, and engineers and all the other specialists needed to keep a MEU functional. Day 1. The 35th MEU is on the ground at Kabul, preparing to deploy to southern Afghanistan. Suddenly, it vanishes. The section of Bagram where the 35th was gathered suddenly reappears in a field outside Rome, on the west bank of the Tiber River. Without substantially prepared ground under it, the concrete begins sinking into the marshy ground and cracking. Colonel Miles Nelson orders his men to regroup near the vehicle depot. Nearly all of the MEU's vehicles are still stripped for air transport. He orders all helicopters airborne. Believing the MEU is trapped in an earthquake, Nelson's men soon report a complete loss of all communications, including GPS and satellite radio. Nelson now believes something more terrible has occurred, a nuclear war and EMP which has left his unit completely isolated. Only a few men have realized that the rest of Bagram has vanished. But that will soon become apparent as the transport helos begin circling the 35th's location. Within an hour, the 2,200 Marines have regrouped. Stunned, they are not the only moderns transported to Rome. With them are about 150 Air Force maintenance and repair specialists. There are about 60 Afghan army soldiers, mostly the MEU's interpreters and liaisons. There are also 15 U.S. civilian contractors and one man, Frank Delacroix, who has spoken to no one but Colonel Nelson. Miraculously, no one was killed during the earthquake, but several dozen people were injured, some seriously. All fixed-wing aircraft and the attack helicopters were rendered inoperable by the shifting concrete. Although the MEU did not lose a single vehicle or transport helicopter. As night falls, the MEU has established a perimeter. A few locals have been spotted. But in the chaos no one has yet established contact. Nelson and his men, who are crippled without mapping software and GPS to fix their position, begin attempting to fix their location by observing stars. The night is cloudy. Nelson orders 4 helicopters back into the air at first light, to travel along the river in hopes of locating a settlement. Asterisk will edit to reflect comments on accuracy. Edit. Holy F. What the hell? Okay, I'm writing as fast as I can. More coffee going Kuroneko 42. Thank you for the Reddit gold. Okay, back to writing now. Edit 2. Holy living F, on a pogo stick WHHHAT. Okay. Michael Rawl. Thank you for Reddit gold too. And to all. I will go back later and edit the saw ammo foul up. Gotta keep going for now. Edit 3. More Reddit gold from Mind 404. I am really staggered by this. You guys. Edit 4. Malpertio. Thank you for the Reddit gold. And thanks to all the thousands of you. I am overwhelmed by the response by everyone. The hive mind has spoken. This shall continue. Please join me in Rome Sweet Rome. http://reddit.com/r/RomeSweetRome/ And thanks to Scarces and Tick_Talk_Clock for setting that up. I am making no decisions at the moment about Kickstarter or self-publishing. But I do pledge to move this story forward, definitely not at this pace. Though. Last edit. Oh. And of course, the _quiet_earth. Thanks for the inspiration and for the shout-out. See you in RSR. Insanely late edit from 2014. If you're just finding this. Hi. You may be wondering what's the news. Check out this armor. http www.reddit.com/r/IAMA/comments/1M1PCB/2_years_10_days_story_on/. From the 2-year anniversary. And please check out some of my other writing at Proofrock 451. Thanks. Super duper insanely late edit from 2018. No. There's no movie yet. Latest news here. https www.reddit.com/r/wait_so_is_movie_going_to_happen/. If you disliked Augustus, you could just fight the legions protecting him. Remove him from power. ****kill him. Then set up a new government. There is no need to kill his whole army to the last man. This was never how wars were fought. You fight a few battles. Win 'em all easily. Reach Rome. Take over and use the remnants of the old army to rule the empire. Which is still vast, so I guess your strategy needs rethinking. If you cannot bring part of the nobility to your side and start a new regime. Your 2,000 men would not be much help policing the huge Roman Empire. Even with choppers. You would lose men here and there and eventually lose control. Tactically, the Romans wouldn't stand a chance. Abrams tanks can engage targets from several kilometers away. Even with them out of the picture. Your support weapons. On the Humvees and APCs. Machine guns etc. Have a range of several hundred meters to 2 kilometers. A rifle against a spear and sword is still no contest. You could mow down enemies armed with a gladius and pilum without them having the possibility to do anything about it. In this fashion, most armies would be broken and rout after losing a large part of their men. After a few battles like this, no one else would even try fighting you. It was very rare for armies to be obliterated. Unless they were encircled or run down. Normally, after heavy casualties, the loser would retreat, take more casualties while running away and then sue for peace. Or regroup to fight another battle. If he had the power. Dr. Destroy a few legions. Let the others stay where they are to keep the peace. Roll up in Rome. Depose, kill Augustus. With helicopters. It could be pretty easy and humorous at the same time. You could just hover a couple of 100 feet above the army and drop goats on them and they wouldn't be able to retaliate. It would be like holding back a tiny kid by pushing him back by his head. He would be swinging like mad trying to get at you, only to fail and be pelted by goats. Yay. Wife sent me this. Did my master's thesis on the Roman military around this time. Rome was mainly good at 3 things. Training and organization. Resupplying their dead. And dividing up their enemies. Let's take a look at each of these. Training and organization. The legions fought with each other rather than just a horde of men running into one another. This gave them a tactical advantage over the counterpart of their day. At this time their organization was almost entirely heavy infantry. That being said, Each legion had auxiliary forces taken from local subdued or allied tribes that often exceeded the number of troops in each legion. These troops were primarily missile wielders, bow and javelin, mounted cavalry, and light infantry. So you'll have to up the number of men you'd be up against, but honestly, that is really neither here nor there. Training is likely to be completely useless to the Romans as they are not equipped to deal with things like bullets. Any protracted fight would end in Roman decimation. Rome won a lot of its protracted fights by being able to quickly resupply the legions. This was done with expert logistical ability, but also with a large, centrally located population that could be recruited back into any weakened legions. So, while you could destroy the legions, they would be reorganized and retrained awfully quickly. Although I'd imagine as word came of the invading wizards, people would be hesitant to take up arms against you. Finally, Rome was good at dividing up their enemies with promises of power, retribution, and reward. This is how Gaul was taken in a relatively short period of time. It's also how Germania would have fallen if not for Varus' ineptitude at Teutoburg. Anyway, all this is probably unimportant as the legion's primary weapon was morale. Most battles of the time came down to which side broke first. The number of battles where Rome was outnumbered, outsupplied, and outpositioned is incredible. What is more incredible is how they won nearly all of them by simply not panicking and doing their job. They were well disciplined and turned the tide by fighting well enough until the other side broke and ran. After that, it was all about mopping up the survivors. In this case, I highly doubt the legions would be disciplined enough to survive the first engagement with mounted infantry. The Marines could fire from elevated position with small and large arms fire a long time before the first Roman speculum ever got close. Great generals and other leaders would be cut down. They would flee. You would win. It is likely a few of the legions would conglomerate regionally, elect their new Caesar, and set up shop wherever they were. Or, they'd wait around for a while until you either left, or no longer had access to your magic, i.e. bullets. It is more likely all of Rome's enemies would take the opportunity to reclaim lost land and further divide the empire. This would set the empire back a ways. But once you left, they'd still have their tactical and geographic advantages and rebuild. What I would suggest is to march to Rome, easily taking out the few legions left to defend the Rubicon. Head into Italy. Make your intentions known, i.e. you're taking over. Show off your magic and the Senate would gladly instill you as Caesar. You'd have no problem defending from any pretender. Eventually, you'd be happy in your position of power. Appease the Senate. Settle down and have a family. Your troops would become Romanized and integrate flawlessly into the society. If you appeased the Senate, you'd rule until your son came of age and you died. After that, there would probably be a civil war or two. Your side might win, might not, but Rome would go on. The eternal city would shine and your small blight on history would be another footnote in history. At least until archaeologists dig up M16s and get really confused. So, did you really win? As a side note, while the show does a good job depicting Octavian as the bad guy, he wasn't that bad. He did a lot of great things for the empire and his reign ended with a period of Pax Romana. I would say that if you had just one major confrontation with a legion, in order to demonstrate your military power, then you could just use fear to win every battle after that. You could call yourselves emissaries of Zeus or something who have descended to earth in order to Kill Octavian. If you somehow manage to communicate that you will raise the entire empire should Octavian not be delivered to you, then I am sure the desperately frightened citizens of Rome would be willing to do anything to appease the gods. Or something along those lines. Deleted. Okay. I'm going to go against the grain here. The Romans would eventually win. I'll tell you how. They weren't stupid. They might have thought your weapons magic. Sure. But they weren't stupid. You'll eventually run out of MREs and ammo conservation will be required. Not to mention petrol conservation. They'd eventually figure this out. It's pure logistics. Think about Hannibal. That man rampaged the entire peninsula for years without being destroyed. And he had no automatic weapons. Rome has many legions. But they're not in one spot. Plus, Rome has been sacked numerous times and even in the weaker periods it wasn't the end of the show yet. So your battalion loses its strength when it dissipates. So you have to concentrate your forces at least at regimental level, meaning you'll have 3 to 4 concentrations of forces. Max. To survive at company level you'd have to avoid urban areas at all costs since your guns lose much of their strategic advantage in closer quarters. Staying in rural areas in fortified positions on a clear hill. Since that's how guns have near invincibility over attacking blades. Also leave you exposed to the problem of supply and siege. It won't be long before the surviving Romans figure out that you need a line of sight to get killed by the flash tube. So once you've destroyed a handful of legions and cleared out a large geographical area, your problems of supply are becoming obvious. You're now given the choice of seeking and destroying the rest of the army, which requires petrol and more supplies, which is a problem. In the rest of the Mediterranean, think about how far you'd have to travel to fight. The most likely scenario is that you occupy Rome and wait for the onslaught. Depending on the number of engagements and lessons learned, the Romans will have a highly intelligent response. Antiquity equals imbecility. They'll have learned that you need line of sight. And they'd also learn your men once they've seen a few of your dead fellow Marines. Since a few will get killed. Imagine living 24/7 in a hostile place. You cannot always be on guard for ambush. So they realize your men. And start to learn your tactics. They won't offer up any more pitched battles once they figure it out. So you'll be followed and harassed. They'll stay out of sight. But follow the sound of your engines until you run out of fuel. After a few months, the legions elsewhere in the empire are making their way back and the guerrilla-style fighting has ensured that you didn't get to stack up terrifying casualties as well as allowed them to track your movements precisely. Once your vehicles are out of fuel, they have the speed advantage and can evacuate towns before you arrive. Removing sources of food and shelter. Any urban area you enter will have been turned into an ambush zone. Which brings me to another point. Archers. Most specifically, archers in an urban area that's known to them and not to you. The Marines will walk into a trap each time they try to take a city once their gas supplies run out. They know this, as they usually do, and will likely win out in most battles after taking a few casualties. But casualties mount, and eventually the Marines will weaken to a point where dividing their forces is impossible. The Romans, who weren't idiots remember, will notice this and the noose will tighten. The Marines would kick ass at first, then slowly lose the advantage as the Romans learned their tactics. They would be unable to conquer and hold enough of Rome to force a surrender, and wouldn't seek and destroy the legions because of distance, meaning they'd wait years in Rome for legions to return and reassemble. If they even intend on fighting a pitched battle after learning the tactics. So I say the long-term victor is Rome. Magic supply line? Sure. It wouldn't even be a contest. What are 300,000 men with swords going to do against a tank? Gum up the treads with their bodies? You should check out this comic book. http://amazon.com/pax-romana-jonathan-hickman/dp/15824087734. It's about the Vatican sending a modern force back in time to prevent the fall of the Roman Empire. Or boo magic supply lines? That's cheating. BTW, does anyone remember in Age of Empires 2 when you could get the car that has a machine gun? I picture it like that.